All right, welcome to day 2 of my first crit weekend. This is my second crit race on the Indy series. This is the third day if you do the whole series. We're here at the Indy Cycloplex, and that's what we're overlooking there, but we don't race in the Cycloplex. We race outside of it and around the park. Here's the women that were racing earlier. I'm not sure what group of women that was. And here come some of the men in one of the master's classes. We're on the other side now looking back at the start line there. That's not the finish line, though. The finish line is actually up at the top of the hill. Now, when I came into this race, I had no idea there was a big hill. I didn't see it in the description anywhere and didn't see any video showing the race specifically at this place. So anyway, there it is. So my first practice lap was the first time I realized that there was a big hill in it. So I knew it wouldn't be a very long day for me because, you know, my power to weight ratio is just not great for this type of format with hill repeats in it. I can hang with people on hills, but I just can't do it so many times in a row, and especially at such a high pace. So again, this is a Cat4 5 race. There's about 30 or 35 people in the field, so maybe a little bit more than half what was there the night before. Of course, still, you know, a bunch of hitters there. They did call-ups. The top 10 people in the series got called up. You know, I didn't do an extra practice lap when they called us on the course because I wanted to get a front row, and then they did call-ups and put the top 10 people in the front, so then I ended up in the second row. Anyway, here we go, first time up that hill, 500-600 watts, and I'm getting past. It's about a 30-second climb, I think, somewhere in there, so it's, you know, if you're in a hilly part of the state of Indiana or Illinois, you're not going to think that it's a massive hill, but to do it over and over again during a crit, it's pretty substantial. Yeah, as soon as you crest the top, then you take a right and you start the downhill around some curvy little road. This was fun. You know, it was a great place to rest a little bit. I wish this downhill was a little bit longer, but it's not. You get down it pretty quickly. So my first time through, I'm naturally pedaling, thinking maybe I need to make up a couple of places before we take a quick right turn, and we're right back to the bottom and into the chicane part of the course. So we're coming in there pretty quick. Here we are with the metal barriers on the sides. Cycloplex is off to the right up here. Let's see. Yeah, and then we go through some curvy, twisty parts, which was a lot of fun. My new wheels, I've got MV 4.5s. You know, those are a little bit above my class, but boy, those sure are good wheels. They sure felt confident, and I had no fear at all going through the chicane section at full speed. And so I make up a couple of places there. Don't have the power to quite race up to the front here, which, you know, that'd be a good idea. Race up to the front and take it easy on the hill. I just don't have that kind of ability. So a couple of half right turns, and then we go right back up the hill again. So pretty fast course. You know, second time up the hill here. You know, 500 watts again, and you'll see people kind of catching and passing me. Heart rate is starting to climb a little bit. You know, if you're riding with your friends and down a group ride, this will be a fun hill just to smash up, you know, with your buddies, and so you can get to the top fastest. But in a crit, and knowing that you're going to do it all again in about 90 seconds, well, that's a little bit daunting. So this time I'm on the right side coming into this downhill section. I'm going to see what that felt like. Last time I was on the left side. Doesn't really make a big difference. We don't have such a big crowd that it's a big deal. Well, that guy spun out, isn't he? So this time I rest a little bit earlier, realizing that I can't pedal down that hill. I have to let the legs recover a little bit. Quick right turn. And off to the races through the chicane. So I'm going to show you, I think, 3 laps. And then the next 2 laps I'm going to fast forward because, well, you know what's coming since this is such a short video. One of the things I noticed the day before at the Indy crit is that people communicate pretty well. They kind of call out if they're coming around the inside, if somebody making a pass in a weird spot. They call it out. And I was glad to see that. And I was glad to, you know, if I was passing them on the inside, I like to let them know that I'm there. As you know, we're all fairly new racers in the Cat4 5 category. And we make mistakes, and sometimes we chop, and no matter what it takes to be safe, none of us are pros here that I'm aware of. So it's good to be safe and just communicate and get through these races safely. So on up we go. This is my third time up the hill. I don't quite have as big a watch. You can see I'm starting to fall back from the pack. But maybe I get a rally going here. Let's see. Oh, there it is. 650. Yep. 500. And people are still catching me. These guys are savages. Across the finish line again. And yeah, it would make sense to put down 800 watts and close it in on the group right here, but boy, when my heart rate's up near its max, that's a real challenge. Did a good job of cleaning the course. I saw them before the races where that little water's on the left side. They were really cleaning that section up and pushing debris off and using brooms to push as much of that water off as they could. So they did a good job making sure the course was safe for us. Again, I wish they wouldn't lump the Cat5s in with the Cat4s. That's a huge disparity in skill. I wish that they would lump the Cat4s in with the 3s, but they didn't ask. They didn't ask me. They must have lost my number or something. Not complaining. It was still fun. Don't know if it was the same setup, same parameters. I don't know that I'd come and do this again because, you know, it's not cheap to participate in these things. You know, it's about $50 each day you race, plus license, plus travel, plus hotel and food, and like everything that goes with it. Plus a new set of wheels, which I was happy to get those. But it's a lot of money to go just race for 10 minutes. So I don't know. I don't make the rules up, and you know, I know you got to pay your dues to get to Cat up. But boy, I don't know if the 55 plus group that I could race in next year. I don't know if that'll be any easier because those guys they're studs. I watched them; they're fast, and they may have been doing crits for 20 years. Who knows? They may have been P1-2 in the past. So I'm not saying that that's going to be easier, but I know that racing against 22-year-olds is for sure not something I'm going to win too often. So we come up to the top again. Young fella behind him regaining on me. He was a nice guy. He asked me to. He encouraged me when he passed me earlier on, encouraged me to hop on his wheel, and we rode together for most of the last of this till we got pulled off. I was faster down the hill because of my weight, and then I was able to carry it through the chicane, so you could say I dropped him a little bit. But just wait till we get going up the hill. And I'm not a complete wimp on the hills. I do okay on hills around southern Illinois, but this is just too fast, and with these repeats it was really difficult. Look how fast he closes in on me up the hill. It's nice to be young. And light. And that's it. Drop the head. We're done. That was fun. I'd love to come practice on this course and just have some fun rides and do some fun laps. But boy, that was hard to race on for my second crit ever. So back down, exit the course when we get back down to the chicane section. I don't know, I think this course should be called the Hill and the Chicane or something like that. Like, I had no warning that there was a big hill in there. Am I glad I did it? Sure I am. I'm not complaining about that. But would I go do a race like this knowing that it had a big hill in it? Probably not. So I've been looking at the hill at the Gateway Cup, which is coming up in August and September. I don't know if I'll do that hill one because there's just no way that I'm going to do well on that. Well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.